Welcome into RedHawk Baseball Weekly. Luke West Poley with the head coach of the Miami Redhawks, Brian Smiley, coming at us from a hotel room down south in between weekends 1 and 2 for the Redhawks. Will be at East Tennessee State coming up Friday through Sunday. Coach, opening weekend out of the way. You guys got 4 games between Friday and Tuesday. How'd you feel about the first four?
The first four games were kind of a good mix. We won the two against the Citadel, and then the two that we ended up on the wrong side. They're both good games. The scores aren't as indicative or as telling as the games that we were in, but we were is a one-run game going into the seventh on the opening night, and we end up getting run rolled. We just kind of had, just the bullpen probably didn't do as well as we would have liked. And then last night it was a tie game in the eighth inning, and we ended up kind of dropping that one. So we're still learning. We're still learning about our team. That's what these early games are for, especially when you have a bunch of new guys, and we have a bunch of them. So we're getting information and trying to solidify some roles, have guys earning roles. There were some really bright spots the first four games, and there were some spots that maybe weren't as bright. But that's our job. That's our job is to kind of start solidifying some roles, especially as we get closer to conference play.
That segues, I think, nicely into the next question of just you talked about the newcomers a little bit. Obviously, you have time to see those guys in the fall and some live ABs and things like that before you get the season started, but there isn't really a great substitution for real games, right? So what do you think you learned about your team over these first 4 games?
Well, no, you're right. Especially, playing in the Midwest there, where you aren't always on the field, in January, early February, because you're stuck inside hitting in cages. So it is tough. But that's part of it. That's not an excuse. But it is harder. So these early games, you're just learning. You're learning about the guys that are new. You're learning if the returners are going to pick up where they left off. You're trying to find who's got the voice of your team. Who are the leaders when things aren't going well? Are they still the leaders that you thought they would be? So you're just learning about everything on the mound, at the plate, off the field, how guys are handling themselves. But no, you're right. You hit it spot on. It can be tough to get a feel for guys whenever you're stuck in an indoor facility for a big bulk of the practice before you open up. Yeah.
Hitting wise, Evan Applewick led you guys this weekend. He had 7 hits over the course of the 4 games, hit 2 homers. He's a guy that, he has been a solid piece for you guys hitting wise. He's been a good defender for this program over the last couple of years. But do you think that he's really taken a big step then this offseason?
Yeah. Yeah, he has. Evan is proving himself seemingly by the day to be a legitimate hitter, not just a power guy, but be a legitimate hitter. And that's just a testament to the work that he's put in with Coach Drew and Coach Rivera in the cages over the past couple years. He has really transformed himself um, as an offensive player, not just a power hitter, but he's more of a well-rounded guy that can move the baseball if needed, or he can plug a gap or hit the ball out of the park as well. So, not surprised with Evan because of his work ethic, but it is, like I said, a testament to the work he and Coach Drew have put in.
Your second and third hitters on the weekend, at least by average, are two newcomers, Dominic Krupinski and Christopher Roa. Krupinski's a guy that obviously you probably know pretty well, and Christopher Roa coming in as a freshman. Roa, he got the 2 starts. He came off the bench once. When did you kind of know he was going to be game ready coming in right away?
Yeah, Chris is, he probably isn't, to be honest with you. He probably isn't quite game ready. He was forced in there. Ignacio Gonzalez had a shoulder injury. He was forced in there against the Citadel. He's still learning. Chris is still learning, and he's learning on the fly. He's a smart kid, He learns by watching. Everybody kind of learns by doing, but Chris is one of those that can learn by watching. And he's getting his baptism by fire, so to speak. He's kind of learning on the job. So he did a great job, though. I mean, to your point, he did a great job coming in against the Citadel when Iggy went down. And shoot, he had 4 or 5 RBIs, I think, 4 or 5 hits. He did a great job, makes some nice plays at third base. He's kind of a utility guy, can play all over, and he's still learning though. He to your point, he might not be game ready yet. It looks like it on paper, but he's still got some learning to do. He knows it. But the good thing is he's really smart and he learns quickly.
I know you're a defensive guy, right? And defense in the first couple weekends last year was a big issue. Seemingly better this weekend, but what did you think?
Yeah, defense, it's getting better. It's getting better. We still have some moving parts to see who will be in there every single day. But it's better. Defense, I think, a lot of times gets confused with just fielding percentage or the number of errors that you make or don't make. But to us, to me, defense is a little deeper than that. It's how you are defending the field. Are you in the right position? Are you allowing the opponent to play to their strength? If they're a short game type of team, are you prepared to take that away from them? Do you know your responsibilities on the infield? Do you know your range? Just things that we have gotten a lot better at throughout the course of a year that if they're foreign to you, if those concepts are foreign, then they take a while to learn. And they take a long time to have pride in if you're somebody that hasn't taken pride in your defense. But make no mistake about it, this program will be about pitching and defense. And right now it's about offense. And that needs to change because the recipe to win championships is on the mound and it's defending the field. And we need to be better. We need to be better. And we will be.
Talking about the mound a little bit, I know that you said that, there were some points, especially in the two Charleston Southern games, where maybe you were hoping for a little more out of your bullpen. You got 13 guys out on the mound at some point throughout the first four games of the season. So, who were your standouts from the opening weekend?
Well, one standout that was really good to see was Caden Pfeffer. He did a really good job, and he's been battling a shoulder injury, and through that this year, and he did a good job. He was, he's not the hardest thrower in the world, but he was making his 83 to 85 look like 94, 95 to the hitters just by the way he was mixing pitches. He was in and out. He was up and down. Fields his position. That was a very, very bright spot. Pounded the zone and left-handed, multiple pitches. That will usually is a recipe for success there. Hayden Cuthbertson is a newcomer, and he got out there yesterday and did a good job. He's kind of got a funky delivery. He's kind of a low three-quarter, low sidearm type, lanky left-handed pitcher that doesn't throw soft. I mean, he's upper 80s, low 90s, and he throws strikes, and he typically induces a lot of ground balls. He didn't get the ground ball action that we were hoping for last night, but he got outs and he threw strikes, which is a big deal. So his role is still kind of up in the air, but it'll be a big one. Um, Pat didn't have he made a mistake last night, one mistake that cost him Mastrian on the mound. But he did a great job coming in and closing the game against the Citadel. So he'll have a huge role. Carson Byers did a good job in his start, especially the last two innings. Still looking to see if he's going to end up as a starter or a reliever. And there's some guys that we haven't seen yet that still have to throw that are going to end up having good roles for us. So
Head to East Tennessee State this weekend for a Friday through Sunday set. They're a team that you saw less than a year ago to wrap up the regular season last year. They're going to look a little bit different because of some exits due to the transfer portal. But just what are your overall thoughts on a perennially good ETSU team?
they are good. They're one of those schools that you don't hear a ton about. Um, but they're good. got a veteran pitching coach that's been he's been at every level of college baseball. Have we as our staff has the utmost respect for what they're doing in Johnson City with that program. You're right. We did play them a year ago. I think we picked up the Friday night win and then dropped the next two. But they're good. They could really hit, and they don't beat themselves. So it'll be a really good test. We've got 4 games under our belt. It'll be a good test to kind of see where we're at and the adjustments that we need to continue to make.
Miami RedHawks are in action this weekend at East Tennessee State, Friday at 3 p.m., Saturday at 2, and Sunday at 1. Home opener coming your way next week as the RedHawks take on Wright State on Tuesday and follow that up with a weekend series against NKU. Coach, appreciate the time. Best of luck this weekend.
All right, thanks a lot.